Hey guys, this is Bizarre Individual and
Jeff Brusso manga.
but you can call him Jeff.
Yeah, just Jeff is fine.
And this is for our very first Yaoi Talk podcast live stream, whatever you want to call it. I put episode number 2 on it because I did film a Yaoi Talk by myself in December of last year, and I will link that down below if you do want to check it out. But this is our first official Yaoi Talk together, and we've been wanting to do this forever now, and
I'm so excited.
I'm really excited that we finally got to do this.
But life happened, life happened, and we took a while before actually sitting down and recording it.
So first we talked about doing this for a couple months now, and we read this material that we're going to be talking about, 10 Count. We read it back in, what were the dates again?
We read 10 Count Volume 1 on May 18, and we read them all the way to May 23rd.
Gotcha. And it was for Shaegeeksout readathon. What was the readathon called again?
It was Spring into Manga Love.
Yes, and we are going to tag her channel down below, so definitely go check her out. And yeah, so I guess let's just begin. So with that said, our memory is going to be a little bit rusty since we did read these 6 volumes about a month ago now. So
we're going to do our best.
Yeah, bear with us. But for going forward future, we will try to do the live stream podcast. I guess let's just call it a podcast since we're not going live. But we're trying to be doing the podcast like at least a week before, a week span of actually reading the material. But anyways, so do you want to start us off with volume 1 of 10 Counts? Or do you want to go ahead and just introduce the characters to us?
Maybe we can introduce the characters first, and we can go from it.
Okay, so there are 2 main characters, and I'm going to have trouble pronouncing their names, but I'm going to say their 2 full names, and then from then on, we both decided that we're just going to call them. Throughout the story, they go by their last name. So we're going to call them by their initial throughout. But the main guy's name is, and help me out here, Jeff, Tadaomi Shirotani.
Tadaomi Shirotani?
Yeah.
It's hard to say it.
Yes. And tell us about him.
Well, the main thing is that he's germophobic. He's struggling to breathe the same hair as people. He's struggling about anything that he don't want to touch anything. He's always wearing gloves, and he doesn't like when people touch him. So that's his main characteristic.
And it's not just he doesn't like germs. He has a phobia of it's insane, it's intense, and he's also OCD too, so that doesn't help his face at all. So he likes everything like neat. He cannot touch anything. So anyways, the next main character's full name is Riku Kuros.
Riku Kuros? Yeah, I would say the same way. Riku Kuros.
Kuros is a lot more easier to say than the other one.
Yeah.
But, describe his personality.
Well, he's a therapist. He's, kind of creepy, charming.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go more into that whenever he's introduced like inside of it. But yeah, he's definitely charming, but in like a
Creepy way.
yeah. I was trying to think of something another way to say it. Yeah, in a creepy way, he's charming. He definitely has a lot of confidence. When Mr. Shuriotina, I feel like he doesn't have as much confidence. Um, but yeah, so I guess let's just start off with the very first volume. And do you want to introduce us to what happens first?
Yeah. Yeah. So at the beginning, hold on a few seconds. I'm
And
trying to find my.
oh no, you're fine. And this is the part where both of us were kind of a little bit confused. In the paneling of the manga, if you remember, we talked about um
Mhm.
like what exactly happened because so it looks like sure I'm just gonna call him S from now on.
Yeah.
S,
S. Yeah.
S is riding with his boss and somehow they're riding together in a car and I it we were both kind of confused on like the paneling and what exactly happened, but it looks like they almost ran into Mr. Kuro's, or somehow Mr. Kuro's helped out S's boss, and so S's boss, which his name is, you have it pulled up already, or
Yeah. I have it. He's Kuramoto or Mr. President. They call
yeah,
him Mr.
uh,
President
they call
sometimes,
him Mr.
or
President throughout it. Okay,
Kuramoto.
we're gonna call him Mr. President. Um, but yeah, so he pretty much he's Mr. President is really thankful that Kuro's helped him out, or he says saved his life, but we're still a little bit confused what happened. But
Yeah, I'm not sure if he get hit by a car or if he get hit by K with his bicycle. I'm not sure what happened there. I was
yeah,
really confused.
yeah, I was really confused too because I was like, and please down in the comments if you read it and you know, let us know because we were both talking about it. And we're like, what exactly happened? But I mean, you don't. So pretty much the important thing is that he sends Mr. S to go thank him for him, the president, and so S and goes after him and to get his information so the boss can repay him. And do you want to say what happens next?
Mm, here in my notes, I don't think I have that. I only have
Okay.
my.
Yeah. Okay. So pretty much, sure, Rotan goes up to Kuros and finds out that he's a counselor, and Kuros offers to help him with his OCD because he can just tell that he's that way because he's wearing gloves. His hands are bruised, and he can just tell that he's like OCD and he has a problem. I guess from his counseling experience, and so he offers him to like meet up and get some like I guess counseling help or something. I think where did they meet up at? Did they meet up at first at at the coffee shop they like to go to, or was that
Yeah,
later?
they made up. First time they met up was at a coffee shop.
Yeah, which is like really hard for Mr. S. I keep calling Mr. S. Really hard for S to do anyways because of his OCD and his germophobia, just in general in public. And so as I guess like as like a counseling thing to help S get over his problems, Kuros has him write down 10 things that he from least to greatest of what he wants to achieve and do to get over his phobia. And do you happen to have the 10 list pulled up, or
Yeah, I have the list. Yeah.
okay, yeah, read off that list test.
So for the list, the number 1 is touch a doorknob barehanded. Number 2 is allow someone else to touch one of my possessions. Number 3 is buy a book from a bookstore.
Wait, what was number 2 again?
Number 2 is allow someone else to touch one of my possessions.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I go on.
And yeah, number 3 is buy a book from the bookstore. Number 4 is hold the handle of a train. 5 is eat a meal at a restaurant. Number 6 is shake hands with someone barehanded. Number 7 is hold someone else's possession without disinfecting it at first. Number 8 is drink from the same glass as someone else. Number 9 is allow someone else into my apartment. And he left number 10 blank.
Ooh. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I would never want to touch a train like handle anyways. I don't know. That just freaks me out anyways. But
Well, I touch it. I don't care.
you don't care. Well, maybe it's because I live in a big city, so I'm not used to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but when I saw that, I was like, I wouldn't touch it anyways. But when I did go to New York City, I just sat down. But anyways, okay. So then after he writes his list, doesn't he have him do the first thing like that instant after he writes his list?
Yeah, he did touch a doorknob barehanded. He did it first time. Yeah.
Yeah, without gloves on. But then he brought an extra pair of gloves to change into afterwards. So he's like slowly getting into it, like slowly doing his list. And he was really, I wrote down that he was really proud of himself that he didn't like wash his hands or disinfect his hands until he got home. So he went the whole entire like time at the coffee shop, and after he touched the door, you know, yeah. So and then I wrote that he feels really accomplished and proud of himself that he did that first step. So because I mean he's later on you find out that he's been this way since he was like a child. So I bet he's really proud of himself that he can actually even just do that very first step. So
Yeah, it is a big step.
yeah,
For someone at his level of germophobia, it is a huge step.
yeah. So I mean, I'd be proud of myself too, to be honest. So I started talking about Mr. President, Rotenkam's boss, and I said how nice his boss was and how respectful he was to and understanding he was to his I wouldn't say disease. Would it be phobia? Is that? Yeah,
I think it's a phobia.
Yeah, phobia. And how he's just really understanding about how he can't do certain things and how he just like lets him like do his own thing at work, and so he doesn't have to like really touch anything, and he's considerate of his space. And I mean I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, this made me realize that because I don't know anybody who's like really like germaphobe like him, and it made me realize that people around someone who's germaphobe, they really have to like be like really respectful and like behave in a different way to accommodate them.
Yes.
This is what I realized. I was like, wow.
Yes, I mean, like if you kind of think of it, it's kind of really like I mean, you kind of have to do that to everyone in a way, like personal space, and everyone's different. But then this is just like an extreme case of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I mean, some people are like huggers. Some people like don't touch me. Some people like when they talk to you, they kind of like get really close to you, and then other people they like their space. So it just so that's kind of what I was thinking of like I was kind of thinking the same thing that you were thinking, like throughout, like how different people like or react differently to people. But yeah,
It's funny that you compared it to like people that don't like to get hugs. I didn't see it this way. I have a friend that don't like to get like to get touched or people to hug her,
yeah,
and I had to like adapt myself to make sure that I wasn't too close and that I wasn't hugging her, and yeah, I didn't see it. It's about the same thing. You need to adapt to make sure to like the other person is comfortable. That
yeah. Just make sure you're
not
being respectful of other people. So, but yeah, so then next, what happens is that Nanti goes and visits his boss, Mr. President, in the hospital, and to cross off something else on his list of 10, his 10 things to get over. He uses a napkin. Wait, I can't read my notes. Okay, he uses a napkin to pass his. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is the part that I said that he was really respectful. So his boss passes his planner that I'm sure Oroto leaves with a napkin, so his boss isn't touching it. So I thought that was really respectful, and I props to his boss.
Yeah, he made sure they didn't touch his book barehanded.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really nice.
but then he kind of felt bad that when he got home, he still had to disinfect his book, even though his boss didn't touch it barehanded. But so he kind of felt
He
like
didn't
he
trust
had,
him.
yeah, he kind of felt like he stepped back. So because he wanted to cross off that thing on his list where I think it was have someone else touch one of your belongings, but he didn't feel like he was there yet. So yeah. And this is the spot that I said that Shiranto and Kuro's said that it was okay for him to skip number 2 and go on to number 3 because number 2 was too difficult for him.
Yeah.
What was number 2 and what was number 3 again? I'm sorry.
Number 2 was to allow someone else to touch one of
Okay,
my
yeah.
possessions.
So,
Yeah, this
so the thing that we just talked about. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
And
So
what
they
was
skipped this one to do the number 3. Buy
yeah.
a book from the bookstore.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I remember now. So yeah, so they do you want to do you want me to just keep continuing with my notes, or do you want to jump in and say anything?
It doesn't matter. I can say what I had about this scene, and you can add if you want.
Okay, cool.
Well, so they went to the library together, like K and S, and so they went to the library to buy a book for S boss that is at the hospital, so he can read something while he's just waiting at the hospital. And so I like that K gave like a tip to S, saying that he can pick up the book from the lowest book in the pile because less people like touched it. And he was saying that even himself he was doing this. And my notes I wrote also that it made me laugh when like he realized that when S was a little bit uncomfortable because he was waiting for him, K was waiting for him to pick up the book. S got uncomfortable, so K started to like stare at him, and S like more and more like K was staring at him. He was getting more uncomfortable, so he just grabbed the book. It made me laugh because it's something I will do. I would just keep staring.
So I thought it was also really nice of him that he said like, oh well, I do that myself, so it's not that unusual to kind of make him feel more comfortable that other people have, that it's not that he's not a normal, that it's a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought that was really neat. And then I also put that I feel like he's buying that book for his boss to make up for that he feels bad for cleaning off his germs, like the boss's germs. So, yeah. And we just got to the end of book 1.
Was it the end of book 1?
Yeah, that was all I put for my notes, at least.
Didn't go to the restaurant in that book? I have notes about that in my thing.
You do? Okay. Maybe I just lost them. Let's see. Oh, yeah, they do go to a restaurant. Wow. And I thought I made really good notes. Okay, wow. Okay, so go on with your notes then. For the rest of
So for the next part, they met again, and Kay did a reservation in a restaurant, so he can check off like eating in a restaurant part. And so it was really sweet of Kay that he told us that he picked a restaurant that is a little bit more fancier, so this means it's going to be more clean.
And also that he wouldn't stand out with his suits too, because he knew that he always wears suits. So he wanted him to feel comfortable with his suit on too, and his gloves, and everything.
Yeah, it was a really good attention that he did in there. To go to the restaurant, they had to take the train, and so while they were waiting for the train, Kay started to chat more like with S when he realized that S was getting more how can I say that, uncomfortable when he was seeing the train coming. So he was distracting him by chatting more until they actually got into the train. And after that, when they were in the train, Kay asked if he wanted to grab the handle. This was part of his 1 to 10. S didn't want to grab the handle right away, and S kind of started to freak out when someone else, like when a stranger, got a little bit too close to him. And after that, in my notes, what did I have here? So when S started to freak out a little bit about that, Kay asked him if he preferred to fall on the floor or on him. So I thought it was like really nice of him to ask what he would prefer, like what is more dirty, the floor or his body. So it was a good attention there.
Yes. So he was being kind of considerate, and I feel like he made a really good counselor, because he picked up, like, just by seeing what he did for S, like he knew how to like distract him at the right points to like get his mind off the issue. He knew how to get down to his level and relate to him. I don't know. I feel like he does make a really good counselor. So he's definitely using those skills to help out Mr. S.
Yeah, it shows he's having really good skills to like deal with that kind of phobia. Phobia? Yeah, phobia.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, yeah, it is a phobia. Okay.
Yeah, and so when S actually fell, he fell into his arms, and I found it really adorable when Kay like carried S in his arms and brought him outside.
Scene. Yes, that was so adorable.
And S realized how like warm his body was.
So yeah, because like, I mean, I just thought of it as like he hasn't had any like human interaction in like a while. So, well, like years really. So just imagine the impact of being like touched by another, human. So
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, oh wow, for sure. Like you must be surprised by that because you don't know how someone else's body feels.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, not even to going into like whether it was a man or a woman. It's like, he hasn't had any interaction. So like, I think anyone would have been, like a shock.
I would have liked to get picked by Kay.
What now?
I would have liked to get picked by Kay instead of S. I would have been in his arm.
So, oh my. But so I just thought, like, I guess we're not even at the end of book one yet, like I thought. But I just thought it was really interesting that in a yaoi, book one had absolutely no sex in it whatsoever. Not even all of
Yeah,
it.
there's no. Uh,
It was
no, they didn't have any sex in it. They almost kissed. Well, almost kissed.
nothing for a yaoi. You read other yaois. You know how yaois start off.
Well, most of them first page is already. Let's go.
Like, I mean, this volume was pretty tame for a yaoi. You know, at
But I
least
like that they tried to build the story first before just getting in there, like
I
straight
yeah,
into
I,
it.
I
Yeah.
definitely like that as well. So, do you have anything else on volume one? Because right now I'm just reading off of. I mean, I can continue if you want. We're on chapter 5 in volume one now.
Oh, hold on, I'm lost in my notes. Oh my. Uh, yeah. So after that, when he grabbed him from the train, basically, I think he walks up at Kay's office, if I'm right.
Yes, I think he is inside of his office. He's laying on that table. Yes, he is in the office, which is, I mean, kind of a big step for him, anyways, because he's not, not at work and not at home. So he's in a new place with, new germs, and he wakes up after, he after like fainting, well, yeah, and then being carried and having human contact that he hasn't had for a while. So his emotions must be like running wild.
Yeah.
And he and Mr. S asked to, since they missed the reservation at the restaurant, he asked if he can have a piece of candy in the jar. I think to wasn't he trying to cross off something else on his list?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, why did he ask for that piece of candy? It was on page. Oh my crap!
I don't think he even ate it.
But then why did he take it?
I don't know. Because he just took the candy, and I remembered later on we see the candy at his place.
Yeah, but whether he ate it or not, it's kind of like I just thought it was kind of like a sign that he was showing him that, like me personally, I thought it was like him kind of showing him that he's trying to get better, because like just think of a bowl of candy that everyone reaches their hand and he's like in a new environment and he asks for a piece of
Someone
candy.
else had to touch it. Yeah.
Yeah, where like all these people are reaching in that same bowl. I feel like even though he was still wearing his gloves, I feel like it was his way of like letting him know that he is trying to get better, that his work isn't for vain. I might be just looking too much into it, but that's what I got out of it.
I don't know. I didn't pay attention to that candy. Sorry.
Um, but okay, so then he makes it home, and he
No, there's something that happened before he goes home.
really.
That's in my notes. That's the only thing in my notes from that part.
Oh yeah, this is where I kind of started getting pissed. I remember.
So when the S was on the bed in his office, K moved closer to S, and it looked like he was getting closer to him to kiss him. And in my notes, I wrote that my heart almost stopped because I was like, "Oh my God, are they gonna kiss?" And it just made it look like S had an eyelash, and he just moved away.
Yeah,
And
okay, one, I know what happened in my notes on this volume. I wrote them all out since I was on break at work. I wrote them all out on my phone, and then I transferred them to paper, and then I didn't finish it. So they're all on my phone that is already dead. So, anyways, yeah. So I was like, I know I wrote notes for this, but anyways, so yeah. So I mean, at this point is when I kind of started noticing or thought that Kuro's K started kind of playing kind of like an emotional game with him. Like, he knew well that he was going to, like, he wanted to kind of like get his heart rate up or like kind of tease him a little bit because even if he did have an eyelash in his eye, like he knew that he didn't like, he felt uncomfortable with people being close to him. So he wanted to, get a reaction out of him, I felt. Whether it was to kiss him or just to kind of play a game, like kind of tease him in a way, anyways. So that's yeah.
it's not how I feel. I felt like he's developing stronger feelings for S, and he wanted to kiss him, but I think he stopped because he realized that he can't kiss him because S is not ready for it. He's not at this level yet. So I
Yes.
think that's why he's like
Yeah, I felt
he
like he was
stopped.
being an asshole. You felt like he was being respectful, right?
That yeah.
Okay.
In my head, I was like, just freaking kiss him.
Right. Me too. I was like, come on, just oh my god.
But
That
I feel like the way that I feel, I think that Kate just felt like S wasn't ready for it. So that I think that's why he must have stopped.
yeah, or maybe not just necessarily just ready for it, or maybe Kay got scared. Like maybe Kay was like, oh, is this too soon? And maybe he just chickened out. I don't know, but so then does he go home?
Um, I think that's is it?
No, I think he goes home and then he calls
Oh
him.
yeah, he's going home and he's starting to have like he's having mixed feelings. I think about that.
Oh
He's
yeah.
just one.
Oh yeah. This is the part that I've. Oh yes. Oh my god. Okay, so Mister Caro's over here after, like, I feel like he freaking teased him and almost kissed him and led him on and got super close to him. Then he calls him up on the phone after that. After poor S opened up to him. And then he said, "Oh, I think that you should finish your list of 10 with someone else. You're doing a great job and all, but I'm not your guy anymore. You have to go on." Oh, anyways, I have a feeling you're not going to agree with me. Go ahead.
I'm trying to understand my notes. I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I don't understand what I wrote.
you're fine. But like this part, I got so mad. Oh my god, I was like ready to jump in this manga and punch him. Like I wanted to punch him so bad. Ugh. Anyways, but yeah, yeah. So try not to read your notes. Try to it might help you to open up the at the end of the volume and just like, and then the pictures might remind you.
Yeah, I don't understand my note at all.
I mean, at least you have notes. Mine are on a dead phone. Um,
Did he really told him that right away that he didn't want to see him?
Yes. He said, we ought to take a break for now because Mr. S is all excited and has his heart rate up and is excited to hang out with him again and finish his list. And he feels like he's, and then.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, I thought it was kind. It's like I don't know why he did that. Like he started. He started to help him, and randomly he's just like stopped it. It was like yeah, it was like a tease basically that he did to him.
It was so cold. Pissed me off so bad. Even though that my reread of this, for some odd reason, I thought that this happened a little bit later because I read the first couple volumes like I think 2 years ago now, and then I read the all the way through this time with you. But like I remember that for some odd reason, I remember this part happening a little bit later. But anyways, so let's see. So yeah, so it just shows him in the bathtub, and he's kind of like sad that he feels like he lost someone that he finally started trusting and opening up to. Like he finally started, feels like he can be normal around someone, and then he kind of, I wouldn't say broke up with him because that's not like the official thing, but I guess he kind of did break up with him in like a friendship kind of way, like, oh, I wish you the best, but you need to finish your list with other people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
think he should have explained himself more.
wait, what now?
I think that K should have explained himself more to S.
Yes, exactly. Like, it was just such a douchey move, and I mean, even if his intentions were good, or I'm like, he should have explained himself more. Like, oh, pissed me off so bad. Anyway, so do you want to go on what happened at this last little part in this book?
That was not it. Oh, they saw each other. Hold on, no, that's not it.
I think that happens in. Yeah, it does happen at the end. So pretty much,
Yeah, at the end, he go? Yeah, I think S went to the coffee shop with his friend.
his coworker. So it introduced a new character in the series at the end. And
What's his name?
what was his coworker's name?
Mikami.
Mikami. I actually really like him. So describe his personality for us.
When he looked like he's that he always wanted to be friend with S, but kind of backed away from him because he knows because he's having a gemophobia.
Yeah, and I also feel like S.
So like yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You can say what you thought.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I feel like it's not that like me personally. I don't feel like he backed away. I feel like S kind of pushed him away, even though that they're both super nice to each other, and they're both like friends at work, and I'm sure they like talk and stuff when they see each other. But I feel like S kind of always kind of like pushed him away in the sense of like, he can't hang out with him outside of work because of his phobia and stuff. So. But anyways, go ahead. What happened next?
So they go to get S and Mikami M. They go to the same coffee shop, and S so they just sit down and chit chat, and S still like have his drink in front of him, and he didn't drink from it. And so when they were about to leave, they saw K on his bicycles, and S said to K that he was able to drink from someone else drink and shake hands, if I remember right.
Yeah, okay, so what I remember happening is that I feel like S kind of went out of his comfort zone and asked M to go like hang out, which they never obviously done that before. And he asked him to go to the same coffee shop as Mr. S and K went previously. I think they went a couple times. It was like their spot. Um, and was it the same coffee shop? Because it looks like in the pictures. Oh yeah, they have a cup of coffee. Anyways, and I think it was kind of S's way of um,
Continuing with someone else.
yeah, continuing with someone else. And I mean, me personally, like, well, I've been in a relationship for over a year now, but like back in the day, like when someone rejected me, I did this thing where like I kind of unintentionally went on a rebound in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like maybe like I kind of related to S, and I feel like he kind of did the same thing because he kind of not necessarily like a rebound like in dating or a rebound in. I mean, I even did it with like friends too. It's like I needed a distraction, so I feel like maybe he needed a distraction from getting hurt by Kay. That he went, on this friends date uh, thing with Mr. M. And then they run into Kay, and of course, the whole entire time, S tried to drink from M's cup, but he couldn't. But then when he ran into Kay, he kind of wanted to kind of be like he portrayed himself as doing better than he was because he didn't want to let him know that he brought him down. So um, he was like, "Oh, I'm doing great. I'm crossing things off the list. Blah blah blah." Um, and and acting like he like didn't need him because since he rejected him, he was kind of in defense mode. S was so that's how I feel. And then this was a really powerful part at the end when they're saying bye to each other. This is oh my god, I hate this part. Do you remember this part?
Well, I keep thinking that I keep saying like K is like in love with S. That's why I keep saying it. But I don't like seeing S crying.
You don't like seeing us crying? What do you mean?
Yeah, because at the end we see him crying. Because hold on, is he telling him? I don't have notes from this part. I don't know why I didn't write any notes. So yeah, they shake hands.
But yeah, so it was so Kay, in his charming way, like, has to act like everything's okay. That's his personality. He like goes to shake his hand and then he says, well, I'm really happy for you that you can cross off this list with someone else. This and then he says something like really bitchy. Um
He says something bitchy.
yeah, like it was
Oh,
like
this will be our. He said this will be our last handshake.
wait, yeah, so it says yeah, this would be a last handshake. I thought that was like, like so bitchy to like reinforce the fact that he already said that he doesn't want to talk to him. So he's literally like kind of being charming and nice, like shaking his hand, like, oh well, you accomplished this with me still, but we're no more. Like oh my god, I hated it. I hated him. Mm. Anyways,
But I just think that it's Kay's way to just stop it. I don't think he wants to go further because he doesn't want. I think it. Yeah, I don't think he just didn't handle it right.
he just
He
what?
stopped things. because I think he's feeling a lot for S, and I think he's just trying to stop everything before he gets too much in trouble. So I think, yeah.
And then something at the very end happens, like where he's crying, and is this the side story at the end? The very
Yeah, there's a side story at the end.
Okay. So yeah. So what did you think about volume 1 of 10 Count?
Well, my thoughts are, I think people would probably not like K because he's a little bit creepy
Me,
and kind of arrogant at the same time.
Chalk,
I think because he doesn't know how to like handle things right. But for some weird reasons, I think I like him.
but at the same time, I feel like he does know how to handle things right because he's so good at communicating with people. Like, because he's a counselor and he knows what to say to S, and he knows how to handle situations. So I thought it was
Yeah, but I think he doesn't know how to deal with his feelings.
yeah.
That's why I'm saying that I think he handled the whole thing wrong.
But yeah, so my thoughts is this book really got to me. It definitely played with my emotions a lot. And I remember at the end of volume 1, I was super excited to read the next one. But did you want to go ahead and wrap it up here and jump into volume 2 next time?
Okay. Yeah. We can wrap up here and talk about next volume next time.
Okay,
I'm fine with
so where can everyone find you that is watching?
So you can find me on Instagram, jeffbrusso_manga. That's where you can find me.
And you need to make a Twitter.
Oh yeah, I have a Twitter. Oh,
Okay.
what is my Twitter? I don't know what is my Twitter.
Okay,
Well,
tell us
I'll tell you in the next one.
and I'll get his Twitter and I'll link it down below. So all of our information will be down below. I am his own individual, and my Instagram and Twitter will be linked down below as well. So thank you guys for listening. I had so much fun on this podcast. Join us next. The plan for this is we're going to try to do it every Sunday night. So join us next Sunday for us to talk about volume 2, and we're going to go for about 45 minutes each episode. So it might be more than volume 2. It just depends on how much we can cover. But anyways, yeah, you guys have a good night. Anything else?
Take care. Thanks for staying. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.